Okay, hi! Can you believe we're in December right now? For me, it definitely felt like the year went by so fast. Now, have you seen those memes about how many Fridays are left until Christmas? You know, the ones that randomly show up on your feed in the middle of summer? Those are some of my favorites because it's funny seeing people say that it's too early to be talking about Christmas, but now, there are actually just 2 more Fridays until Christmas, let's go! So here in the United States, just about everywhere there are holiday attractions, and in my area there's one that's called Galaxy of Lights. Simply put, it's a massive outdoor light show, and you can choose to walk through all the light displays, or there's an alternative where you can drive. Of course, I wanted to do the walking option. This has been going on for a while, but I never got the chance to go until now. I was actually close to going last year, but it didn't quite work out. This year, I was finally able to sort out a time to go, which was actually on Black Friday, so I chose one of the busiest days possible, which probably wasn't the best idea, especially for fursuiting. But I made it through, and I've got a lot to share about how it went. Today, we're at the Galaxy of Lights. You can't see too much right now, but we're actually going to walk around a little bit. I need to be careful about not getting in people's ways because the path is a little short, or it's a little small, but there's a lot of stuff to see. Right off the bat, you take a few steps and you see this over here. Obviously with the camera, at least my camera quality, you can't see it too well, but if you're here in person, it's definitely a very nice sight. Just a few steps from the beginning that are back over there. I think it's definitely worth noting that my camera is not the best for recording at night, so wherever possible I do want to show pictures of the areas I went through. That way you can actually clearly see what I was seeing. Kinda like in this initial area where the fountain in the middle of the lake is lit up, and the path on the other side of the water also has a ton of decorations. So see, I'm still walking near the beginning, and then right here, wow, this is actually such a good view. Like, oh, where am I? Like, look at all that right there. The camera really doesn't do it any justice, but there's actually a railing right here. So like, this is probably going to be a good site for some photos. If it's your first time going to a light show like it was for me, you'll probably be impressed even just from this section at the start of the walk. It's definitely worth taking a moment to admire and just getting some pictures. But at the time, I didn't know just how much more was waiting for me. Okay, so now we have this insanely well-lit path. You have the trees right above you with some lights. This path just leads you straight into that right there. Like, we're about to go in there, so it's obviously nice from a distance, but we're about to see what it's about. This area is called the Enchanted Grove. It's surrounded by a bunch of hanging lights that change colors, and a few other winter-themed decorations. Even though it's a pretty simple concept, the way it was set up and the brightness of the lights made it a pretty popular spot. This was actually one of the first crowded areas that I ran into, and it also had a pretty neat surprise. Okay, I'm either going crazy or there's actually snow. I don't know if you can tell, but I think there's actual snow. If you couldn't tell, I was kinda caught off guard, so even though I knew it wasn't real snow, I was just surprised there was snow as part of this area. It's definitely one of the most memorable parts for me. Look at this. You have the tree right there, if I can learn how to point, and you can't really see it from this distance, but there are candy canes, like by the tree. There's a little place right here to sit. But that's actually pretty nice, because you got the tree right here. You got the tree, and then you got all the candy canes. So, another really good place for pictures. I didn't really spend too much time here, but just like I said in the vlog, I really think it's a great area for some pictures, especially because there's some pretty good lighting right in the spot where the tree and candy canes are in the background. Then, after passing a couple of other areas, it was time for one of my favorite places.
Okay, I think I've been in this place before. I think it's supposed to be some kind of oriental looking area. And wow, the way that it's just decorated. You got water, lights absolutely everywhere on the ground to light you up.
Like I said in the vlog, I had a feeling I've been to this area before, and I was right. Before FWA in 2025, some local furs got together for a photo shoot here, and this oriental area was my favorite by far. And I didn't say this before, but this is a botanical garden. This is where the light show takes place, so it was a treat for me to see this oriental area again, decorated for the holidays. This was another one of the most crowded areas, so I didn't really get a chance to take more pictures, which is a bit of a bummer. I think this is one of the prettiest and just most visually pleasing areas in the garden, so really there's tons of potential for great pics and videos. Moving on, there was a short display of bug lights. Since this is a botanical garden, bugs are definitely a big theme, and even though it was a short section, I still really liked passing through.
This one's really cool, probably my favorite, even though it doesn't like move. But look at this. It's a ladybug. Oh, look at this one too. Alright, we're entering another area, kind of like the one we saw earlier. It's just like a cascade of lights. Just look at all of this. Again, such good lighting right here. You can see my face so clearly now. It's a pretty long path compared to a lot of the other sections. Oh, look at the lights changing. Oh, I should have caught that. Okay. This is a really cool area as well. I gotta say, this one might be another one of my favorites.
If you remember the Enchanted Grove from earlier, this is kinda like that, except you have a bigger walking path, and the lights change color slowly sometimes, and other times they would change pretty fast. This was another popular area, and I'd say just the lighting alone made it very enjoyable to walk through. But something else that made this stand out was a short section where bubbles were blowing. So you have the lights changing colors all around you, and now just bubbles everywhere. When you think about it, it's another relatively simple concept, but combining the lights with the bubbles definitely made this part a lot more memorable. Plus, this was really deep into the walk, so it was a nice way to keep the experience from getting dull.
So now we're in a bonfire area of sorts. There are so many bonfires around. I'm trying not to get people in here, but there's literally just so many bonfires, and you can actually buy marshmallows, so I'm gonna try to buy a marshmallow and just roast one.
And find a marshmallow I did. They were actually selling s'more kits over here, so you could buy a bag with 2 marshmallows and 2 graham crackers. I honestly can't remember if it also came with chocolates. I would think it should, since that is part of a s'more, but I genuinely don't remember having chocolate with what we bought, so maybe we got scammed, I'm not completely sure. Either way, I just roasted my marshmallow and had a small snack. I think having this section so deep into the walk is a really good idea. You can take a short break from the walking, warm up your hands, and have a snack if you want. I know they were also selling alcohol, and there was another stand I didn't go to, but if I were to guess, they probably had other kinds of snacks in there. After leaving the bonfire and snack area, you have an entrance to what I didn't know would be the longest stretch of light displays in the entire attraction. So far, most of the areas have been relatively short, with nothing taking more than maybe 10 minutes, give or take, unless you just decided to spend more time in any given place. Now, we were going to see a lot of different light displays on both sides of this long path. One part had a bunch of dinosaurs, and pretty fittingly, they were playing the Jurassic Park theme. I know I have some friends who would really appreciate this section. One of my favorite parts was a big house with a bunch of spheres on the grass that change colors. I didn't realize it at first, but you can actually change the color of the spheres. There's a small podium in front of the house with buttons that change those colors. It's a cool little interactive part before you move on to the next displays.
So I think this is the snowman section, I would say. You got one right there. I don't know what's happening to that snowman. It looks like he, I can't tell. Does he explode? That's a little sad. And then, oh, I see. It's a two-parter. Okay, that's actually really cool. Now that I know what's going on. There you go. Nice little snowman section.
Of course, most of the displays were Christmas themed in some way. Just a lot of family friendly stuff since a lot of people brought children. The displays were spaced out pretty well too, so I don't think there was ever a time where you would walk and just not see anything. And for some parts, there was holiday music playing, so it was nice getting to be outside while checking out all of these Christmas lights as you just go for a walk pretty much. Later, there were a bunch of light panels that change color when you step on them. It was actually a decently long path that could probably take you about a minute or so to get through depending on how fast or how slow you go, but I didn't want to get in the way of the children playing here, so I only tried it out for a little bit near the end of it. Still, I do think this would be a really fun place for fursuit pictures, and I really want to see just a line of fursuiters go through the entire path, just see who can make it through without falling. The next big part along the walking path was this massive castle. No doubt one of the biggest highlights of the walk simply because of how bright and big it was. Of course, it was a huge attraction for pictures and videos, but it was actually the entrance to a small outdoor gift shop. This was definitely one of the most crowded areas, but if you manage to find a spot, it really is a great place for pics, and of course just a stunning sight to take in for a little bit.
Okay, so somehow I managed to find myself inside of the Enchanted Forest, and look at all of this. It's like, look at this. That's a bird cage for any avians out there. I bet y'all would be a big fan of that.
Just when you think there isn't anything unique left in the walk, the Enchanted Forest appears. I think an argument could be made that some of the previous sections also felt a little bit like an Enchanted Forest, but this was definitely the one. There were a ton of bright colors everywhere with a bit of an emphasis on pinks and reds, really giving it that fantasy feel.
Okay, so I'm walking more around the forest. I love these trees. Look at these trees for a second. They are gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Just like I said, the trees in this forest were lovely. It's one of the more simple parts of this area, but I wanted to give it at least a little bit of attention because I really liked it a lot. Something else that was really cool was the bird cage I mentioned in the vlog a little bit ago. It's not a super crazy concept, but it was just executed so well. Just getting to go inside a huge bird cage with changing lights, the branch, and the little hanging decoration. It's a neat part of the forest area, and again, this would be perfect for any bird furries out there.
You have this huge tree. Again, looks better in person. And then just straight ahead, this path. Holy heck, let me try to get closer.
I know we've seen a lot of areas with a ton of colorful lights, but there's something about this part that really stood out. I definitely think part of it was just how much some of the huge trees were decorated, but I also think it's because there were so many branches all changing color in sync. And even though it felt like there were more lights than usual in this section, it didn't feel overwhelming. It was just nice experiencing this part of the walk.
Okay, we're in the middle of the path. And you can hardly tell that they're kind of, you know, changing colors a little bit. There you go, they change colors. Sometimes it's a little subtle, sometimes it's not as subtle. There's another huge tree just completely decorated.
As we continued on the path, there was another interactive area. It had a few swings that lit up, and I couldn't pass up the chance to get on one. They almost looked like some brightly colored moons, so this was just another cool opportunity for some photos and videos. And if you find the right angle, you can kinda lay on the swings a little bit. I honestly could have probably stayed on my swing for a while. Not a lot more to it, but of course it was a nice area to just take a short break. Next up on the walk, there was a small wooden house that was also decorated for the holidays. I actually remember this from the last time I came to the garden, and I'd say it's probably one of the landmarks there. I gotta say, the botanical garden really did good to space out all of the light displays along this really long path, and putting in some interactive sections in between. It's a nice way to break up all those light displays while giving people a taste of something a little different every now and then.
I think we're finally getting to the end, because we are back near the beginning where there was the water in the middle and there was something on the other side, and now we're on the other side, heading towards the exit. And it's extremely dark here. It's actually so hard to see. But of course, we got a lot of cool stuff on the sides. You can see the main entrance of the garden over there.
So, technically I was right about being close to the exit, but we were offered one final attraction before leaving. Like I said, this is a botanical garden, and one of the best features of this one is the butterfly house. I already knew this was part of the garden, but I honestly wasn't expecting it to be part of the holiday lights display. They made the butterfly house light up with so many wonderful colors, and it all fit the environment in there just incredibly well. This was definitely another highlight of the walk, and another area with so much potential for photos and videos. Honestly, it's a very strong way to wind down this adventure.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, this took so much longer than what I expected, but we are finally at the end. And wow, what an adventure it's been. I don't know if you can see. That's supposed to say, thanks for visiting the garden, and then we have just one more tree, so this is actually it. I had some sort of expectation about all of it, but they definitely just blew it out of the water. Like, there was so much more than what I could have imagined. So, honestly, great adventure. Totally would come back again. But no, there is so much to do here. You can easily spend like a couple of hours here.
And that could not be more true. I actually ended up being there for close to 3 hours. I'm pretty sure I started at around 6:10 and left after 9. But I'm not complaining. It was a fantastic experience, and my only regret is not slowing down even more to take more pictures. Now, of course, there were hundreds of people at the walk, and like I said at the beginning, it was Black Friday, so a really busy night. Which means there were quite a few reactions and interactions that I had while fursuiting.
Who's this guy? Who is that guy?
He's filming himself.
Okay, so this area actually does have a name. It's called the Enchanted Grove, and wow. We're about to go inside.
Hey, can I get a picture with you?
Yeah, go for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, hi.
What are you?
I'm sorry?
What are you dressed as?
Say that one more time?
What are you dressed as?
It's an animal. Do you know what animal?
No.
Do you have a guess?
Make a guess.
A raccoon?
I can see why. I do have a long tail, but it's actually a feline. It's a cat.
Oh.
It's a mountain lion. So, good guess though. Again, I got a long tail. So,
Yeah.
have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Those were actually not the only times I got called the wrong species, and it was also not the only time I got called a raccoon. It's always fun having people guess what species I am, and a lot of times they really are surprised when I tell them I'm a mountain lion. But anyway, I had a lot more interactions throughout the night. There was a decent amount of adults and young adults who asked for pictures. Plus, there were a few passing comments complimenting my suit, and sometimes questions about it. There were also some kids who came up to me. Some of them were very curious and actually talked to me, and the families of these kids looked really happy and were even encouraging the interactions. Plus, there were also some kids who just came up and gave me a hug. I remember specifically one girl who literally ran up to me while I was taking some pictures and just gave me a hug because I guess she really wanted to, and it was actually really cute. And others were a little more shy and just ended up grabbing my paws, maybe waved at me a little bit. And for those, I usually just held out my paw, see if they wanted to touch it, see if they wanted to maybe get a hug. Because, again, some of them are just shy and just don't know if they should do what they want to do. But overall, the interactions with the kids were definitely really wholesome. I didn't have any direct negative interactions, so I definitely can't complain about that. I know a lot of fursuiters say this, but interactions like these really make public fursuiting fun. I'm out here just exploring someplace and getting pictures, but seeing people smile and be amused by the antics of a big cartoon cat just never gets old for me. And that's all for this adventure. I've wanted to come to this light show for the past few years because I've always heard good things about it, but it also seems like they've been slowly upgrading it, so I probably chose a good year to go. Now, if you've gone to any holiday light shows or anything similar, whether in fursuit or not, let me know as well. I'd love to read about it. That's it for now though, so thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care!